Hello and a warm welcome to this special broadcast on the International Women's Day. A woman has traveled a long journey fighting for her rights, fighting for justice, for parity. But in 2024, what does Women's Day mean for a woman? And what is the biggest challenge for a woman right now? Is it inclusion or is it some other unexplored journey which a woman is looking for? I'm joined by a very special panel of ladies today. And let me introduce all of them to you one by one. We have Divya P. Venkat, who is the founder of Vidai Recycling. She has a passion for sustainable and environmentally friendly solutions. She's committed to empowering marginalized communities. Thank you so much, Divya, for joining on the Federal. We have Padma Priya, who is the State Deputy Secretary of the DMK. She's also a microbiologist and activist as well. Thank you so much, Padma, for joining on the Federal. We have Priya Gautam, who is a strategic consultant and director of Virginia Tech. Thank you so much, Priya, for joining on the Federal. And we have Dr. Irfana Shahul Hamid, who's the founder of the Silver Learning Foundation. Thank you so much. And a very warm welcome to all these ladies who've joined us on the International Women's Day. Let me come to Divya. So what does a Women's Day mean for you, really?
At this moment, Women's Day means to celebrate the women who had made sacrifices all the way for the past years, who had helped us get this recognition, freedom, and equity among all the other human beings on earth. So when you asked if we should be going around wishing Women's Day, I would say we should be going around celebrating the freedom, the sacrifice made by a lot of women who had helped us reach where we are. It has got a lot of work to do, right from the mindset of men, the way you raise your child, and all of that. So I think today the theme is of inclusion, and we've come a long way from where we've started.
So I'll come back with the same question, Priya. So what does Women's Day mean for you?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So I think women should be celebrated all 365 days, but this Women's Day celebration at least gives all of us a chance to remind that women are special. So this day is really important. And today I'm just coming back from a college function, from a Women's Day celebration. So to take time and to spend time with the students and to remind them that we have traveled so far to reach the space where we are today, and we have so much thing to travel from here to the next thing. From education to the socio-political ambition and the dream that we have as a woman today, and how long we are having for traveling for the next few years is something that I have started telling students. So education is the key for us, and today socio-political space is very important for students, and that is what I have given as a message to the students. So women being strong physically, mentally, and in their career is something that we are fighting every single day. And Women's Day is a day where we can remind the society that we are fighting for it, and we have a long space, to travel for all women to reach out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so Priya Gautam, if I may come to you now as a strategic consultant and a director of Virginia Tech, I know you must have surmounted a lot of troubles, a lot of challenges. But when it comes to 8th March, how special do you really feel on this particular day as a woman?
So, good morning to all of you and to the viewers who are watching the show. The question is very pertinent. I don't celebrate it just the day, but it is just a reminder, like everybody else echoed. However, being in education and consulting and strategy and marketing, I think they use this as a day for marketing a lot of freebies and things like that, but it is not at all. We have to walk the talk as women on the top, and we have to continuously inspire. And I always say this to students, that it is not just that we can change; it's a society that needs to look at every woman equally. For me, that's a Women's Day I would feel when I'm able to do all these things. So it's just not today. So that's what I feel. It's just another day, but I would like to celebrate it. Every day, like everybody felt.
Absolutely. And even I feel the same. That is just not about the 8th March, but Women's Day should be celebrated almost every day throughout the year. But Dr. Irfana, if I may come to you, you're a doctor by profession. Life of a doctor, everybody knows it's a grind. You get up in the morning and you do not know what time you're going to reach home. And in fact, that's the same for all the women who are, especially the working women. But how special is a Women's Day for you?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. A very happy Women's Day to all of you. So, this is my third webinar for this week, and I have attended a lot of corporate talks, and I've been giving a lot of corporate talks this whole week, only because I'm a gynecologist, because I specialize in women's health completely. So, people call me and said, come, let's talk about PCOS. We addressed in PCOS the bunch of people whom we were talking to for the last few days is just from 25 to 35 years. So the power and potential to influence these people is not just limited to one day. And when they say, come give us a lecture about PCOS, the first thing I'd like to go and see is the canteen or the messes, because they are going to be flooded with samosas and all the refined food. If the organization do not make a change, and if they're going to only have me for a day to only throw some light on PCOS, the purpose is not valid. So this time I made it a point to sit with all the HRs wherever I've been attending to tell them to start making some real changes. As this day, as everyone said, I'm very glad and happy to be celebrating with my other fellow women here. But essentially, it doesn't mean only a single day for me. Not the ones who come on cameras or attending conferences or doing a lot of workshops around Women's Day. Every single woman in her own house is to be celebrated. The amount of work she puts in her own family, for her community. I know a lot of people who do not come to light at all. They're not seen, they're not heard, they're not celebrated at all. But I think essentially your own family has to celebrate you not just today, but every day as well as the community.
Absolutely, you are absolutely right. And now I'll come to the theme of inclusion, what people do talk about. And Padma, I'll start with you because you're also into that political space where people do talk about the fact that, there are not too many women in politics who can, really make themselves audible. There are not many women on the top positions yet. So, how do you really see the scenario of inclusion as far as the women in this particular year, and if you look at 2024 and the journey the women have made so far?
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to, elaborate my journey into politics. It is because I'm a first graduate from my family, and I'm a first-time politician from my family. As you rightly mentioned, ma'am, women in politics these days is like we are very less in number, but the representation we would want to see is like 50%. Today in Tamil Nadu, we have 50% reservation. We have councillors who are women, and in future we are expecting 33% in MP elections. But we have a long way for women to be in politics because our voices then will be registered and we can be heard. So women in politics these days are getting better is what I feel, because I can see a lot of young graduates, young women into politics. I can see a lot of advocates, a lot of doctors coming into politics, taking politics as a career. Yes, because there was days when women are kept away from education. We didn't have the space to come out of our house to get education or to go for work. We had such days, but today education and going work is becoming generalized thing. It is becoming normalizing one thing. So maybe from today, from the next for the next 10 years or 20 years, the line that we have, that like today we have 50% councillors, maybe in another 20-30 years we'll have 50% MLAs, we'll have 50% MPs. But it is not just because of reservation. More than that, the representation itself inside politics is very less. Today, I, as a first generation graduate, because of my own interest, I'm traveling all the way. I'm going meeting students one side. I'm going doing NGO work the other side. I'm taking care of my family. I'm into politics. So women being multitasking, it is there in our gene. Even from olden days, it is there in our gene. We can handle multiple things. So people these days, they think that if women go to politics, they cannot have that secure space. They might be getting exploited or they cannot look after a family. It is all myth. So women like us, if we start exploring, if we show the society that that is not the reality, women can handle all of this, then slowly many people will get inspired and they can come inside. So I had the privilege, I had the opportunity to stand in an election. I stood as an MLA candidate. Obviously, I didn't win, being a first generation politician and from a new party. But today, Priya ma'am actually rightly mentioned something regarding the freebies. So the current government, they are introducing freebies in the form of schemes that would uplift women. So something like that, we have Pudumai Pentittam, where we ensure the government school kids, especially children, girl children, they should step into college education. For that, the government is paying 1,000 rupees.
Right.
And this budget, we have Tamil Pudalvan Tittam, where the boys will also get 1,000 rupees. We have Urimai Togai, where every house, housewives will get 1,000 rupees. We have Vidiyal Painam Tittam, where inside Tamil Nadu we can use our buses. So through this, the women can, invest in education. We are getting investment in our day-to-day life. So every small scheme, Tamil Nadu government scheme is it is coined to uplift women's education and women's workforce in Tamil Nadu. So seeing all this scheme, being a young politician, I feel from here, the next 20 years will be like days where men will ask for reservation. So
I'm
that
really
they will
getting
definitely come.
tempted, Padma. I'm really getting tempted to ask you one question because Prime Minister Modi today announced that, as a Women's Day gift, he's announced a 100 rupee reduction in the price of the LPG cylinder. Do you really think that a woman needs this kind of of an allurement or this kind of a carrot which is being dangled in front of her that look, we are reducing 100 rupees for a gas cylinder?
Ma'am, from 800 now it has crossed 1,000 rupees, and they're reducing 100 rupees just for
100
election is
rupees.
what I see. And moreover, investing or making the women go back to the kitchen doesn't make any difference is what I feel. He could
Absolutely.
have invested that in women empowerment related, education related schemes. So I don't think it is only because of elections is what I personally feel.
That is being hailed as a women's day special. But anyways, I don't want to get into that political discussion now. But Divya, I'll come to you. What are the challenges really in your profession as a founder of Viday Recycling? And what are the kind of challenges which you really face in your profession?
Uh, to be, thank you for the question. To be honest, I've been very blessed and supportive with my system. I'm into waste management, so I spent most of my initial days walking around the dump yards, walking around the streets around the dump yards, understanding how is the waste management behaving in the society. And everybody around me were just men. I didn't see even like hardly 10% of women there. And my days were very early as 6 a.m. and then the nights would go till 11 or 12. But still, I felt very protected. Maybe it is because I'm in Tamil Nadu, I'm in Chennai, I don't know. Or maybe it is because the men around me suddenly had this affection towards me as if I am one of their house, either daughters or sisters. So they ensure that I'm always protected. When I was standing next to a tea shop where other rat pickers were also drinking tea, this guy who served me tea, ensured that I'm safe. He said, "Do you want to come inside and sit? Do you want me to put a table for you?" So the challenge in terms of safety was absolutely nothing. I felt perfectly safe. I'm into my 10th years. This year, we're completing a decade. So challenges in terms of safety, it's none. But in terms of work, in terms of profession, if you ask, people took time to believe in me. They said, "You're the woman." I started my company when I was 21 years old. So the first few questions would be like, what will happen to this business after you get married? What will happen to this business after you start a family? Who will take over? Why are you laboring so hard? This is a man's work. It is very hard in waste management and recycling. So they of course, it came from a point of concern on why do you have to suffer so much when you can have a white collar job and earn more. But the perspective also was very differentiating. What are you going to do here? You get married, you get off, and then what happens to the business? To make them understand that I am as same as you are in the working profession, and I'm going to come a long way, just like how you did starting your work. It took a lot of time. It took at least 3-4 years for me to bring that attitudinal change in the people who interact with me. Having said that, today the things are viewed very differently. Like I already said, thanks to all the women who made it a point to say that working professional of a woman can also be at equal par of men.
You're
a
making a very
prescription.
important point, Divya, and I'll really interrupt you here and ask you another question. That especially in your field, and you said that people used to ask you that what happens if you get married? How will you continue with your profession? But how helpful really have has the woman community been to you, and especially in a field like yours? A support coming from a woman to another woman is a very crucial aspect of women's empowerment. So, how helpful have been the women to you?
Oh, I should only say they've been a beacon of light. Like I said, I'm the first generation entrepreneur, and at a very young age, I started business. Not much of employment opportunities where you can learn the ethics of how your employer has to treat you, or what are the issues that you face in the corporate world. But these women around me, I've been as a delegate to gender equality conferences, G20 Empower conferences, and all of the places when we interact, they kept giving me cues on how I have to navigate glass ceilings, how I have to diplomatically handle situations. They've been always nourishing me with all their wisdom and experience. And the moment you call and ask, hey, you know what? I find difficult to find KPIs in this system. And then I have five, I message, and then I have at least two people call me and say, you want to talk? I'll share you what experiences I have done during my company, and maybe you can take that up and implement it there. It has been absolutely fantastic.
Right.
We have this bad saying where women will never let the other women live; they'll always pull them down. I think that
In fact,
that is not there at all. It
but
just
I guess,
because
yeah, but I guess you've been very blessed if you've that got that kind of a support. But Priya, if I may come to you now, Priya Gautam, uh, how has the life been to you as a woman, and especially in terms of how and what kind of a support you've got from the women community?
Um, Great question. See, many a times what happens is in the corporate environment, and I've always been in the corporate environment for plus 20, 22 years. You'll find that there's a lot of women in the bottom of the pyramid. And as you keep climbing up, then you find yourself being alone. So you're sometimes sitting alone in a boardroom and actually wanting to talk in front of so many people. Some of the times you would feel very intimidated, but that's something I always thought was something I should take it as a strength and say, how do I care, and it's what I am, and what I know is best is my subject, and so why should I be very afraid about talking about it, or why should I feel inferior? That's something that always sticked on to my head, and I always reply saying that I really don't care, and that attitude really gave me a very nice feel that I could just take the center stage, or rather I grab the stage. So
No,
that
but
was
how
one.
easily does this attitude come to a woman? I'm not going to care. You do whatever you feel like. I will do what I want. It's very
Right.
difficult, to wear this kind of an attitude. In fact, many women take years. They do get emotional. They do get swayed by what's coming their way. How does a woman, and as a prescription, I'm asking you because a lot of ladies would be watching this program, and what would you really say to a woman? How do you develop that kind of a thick skin? It does take time.
True, but I think if you are very strong in your subject, right, nobody can stop you. It's all about how well you know your subject and how confident are you in delivering that. So
Right.
even if you are little, faltering somewhere, it doesn't matter. If you carry that confidence in your shoulder, whatever you say is good, and whatever you say is gospel of truth at that point of time. So that for me is been my mantra, and I would urge a lot of the women here who are listening to actually use that as a technique to really be abreast with what is happening today. I mean, because the moment you sort of sound doubtful, right, that's when somebody takes over. It could happen to anybody. It could be men or women. I'm not, typecasting here, but the moment you know your subject very well, absolutely, there's no problem. And that's something I always kept. So I'll keep reading. And there's a little, ad recently you would have seen that today it's about women do not like to take compliments. So I think there's a viral video about it. So we all have to learn to accept and do that. And I think that's a calling which was in the past, but it is like now you should just feel good about what you're doing. So there's never, I mean, why should you feel shy about,
Yeah,
taking?
you made an important point where you said that why should women receive compliments, Dr. Irfana? The times are now that a woman needs to love herself, love oneself. With the advancement in the professions, with the kind of progress a woman is making, uh, And Priya did make an important point that should a woman be complimented? Yes, women do like to hear compliments. You're wearing a nice sari, you're wearing a nice dress, you look good. Who wouldn't want that? But in real terms, when it comes to a woman, what does a self-love for a woman mean? And what does a compliment really translate for a woman into?
Women like to get validated. Like, since I'm a gynecologist, I see women on an everyday basis. The first thing they ask me is, my husband did not do this. He probably did not like this. So what we try and tell them is, remove all the factors away from your life and look at what you are and what makes you feel happy, what makes you feel the best. Give up answers to me, and then I will give you solutions. And the solutions will not be based on what your beauty therapist thinks or what your husband thinks or what your mother-in-law thinks. Is women do like get validated, but according to me, you having your own validation is the most important thing. You feeling very good in your own skin, you feeling very confident, you feeling very good about yourself is the first validation. And I really tell all my other women not to wait for their validation, not to wait for anybody to say how you feel. You should look good, you should feel good, and you should acknowledge that. There is no point in waiting for someone to come up to you and say, hey, you look good. You must be knowing it by now. You must be knowing it by then. So what do you do for that? You develop lifestyle and habits which make you look your best and feel your best. So yes, but yes, at some point we like to get the validation. As much I say this and all of that, we all like to get validated. But essentially, that validation doesn't have to come from a man. Is my point. It could be your friend, your sister, your mother, or even your daughter who said, "Mommy, you look very nice today." That's enough. Some validation from somebody, not just a man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Priya, Padma, I'll come to you now. In your profession, normally what I have seen, and because of my interactions with the politicians, generally I've seen, though it's like a very womanly talk, like in politics, should you wear makeup? Should you not? Because you're mingling with all the people all the time. How do you keep up to your best look? That's a big challenge. The entire day you're on the field, on the ground. So does that really become a challenge for you? And because one also tends to look soiled when you are interacting with the people on the ground, especially. So does the look and how you maintain yourself, does that become sometimes really very difficult for you?
To me personally, it is not difficult because I love wearing saris. So I'm very comfortable with saris. So personally for me, I love this look. Whatever I'm wearing, I love this. So I'm wearing whatever I wanted to. But when you ask me, women, do they really have are they independent in like choosing what they wear? The answer is no. Because if you're in politics, you can't wear chudidar here. If you wear chudidar, they'll simply say this in one sentence that, oh, she's very small, she's too young for
Yeah.
politics. Even in 40s and 50s, if women wear sari, they don't take us seriously. So if a woman is wearing chudidar and if a woman is wearing sari, politicians do prefer sari wearing women. They feel that only women who wear sari can connect with the ground. So that's what people normally judge
Don't
in
you think that
politics.
this attitudinal mindset, this kind of a barrier in the mind of the minds of the people, uh, how will it change really? Because people perceive the politicians in a particular manner. I still remember the day when in Parliament, few very young parliamentarians last to last time had walked in trousers and wearing, and the questions were being raised how she's wearing a sindoor and then wearing a trouser. So all of that narrative had come up. And people still feel that no, if you have to walk into parliament, you must wear a sari, nothing else. So why can't it change? In the Western democracies, people can wear anything. So why should it not change in India, especially in politics?
What I personally believe is dressing is their own personal choice. Especially for women, it is her choice to wear whatever she wants. But I feel there is a kind of dress code that must be maintained, or a decorum that should be maintained inside parliament is what I personally feel. So yes, generations do change. Today, not everybody is wearing this waist shirt everywhere. Today, our ministers are wearing t-shirt and jeans. They're comfortable with it, and they're traveling with that. Same wise, women are wearing chudidars for some government functions. Women councillors, Even our own mayor, Priya Rajan, she's wearing chudidar. So it's her own choice. But the thing is, the stigma, the crowd, 90% of the crowd here are men, and they are like elderly people, and they want to see women in sari, and so that many women are choosing sari. For me, just my personal choice, I love wearing saris, and that is why I'm dressed like this. So women wearing sari, wearing chudidar, wearing pajamas is their own choice. But what really matters is with that dressing sense, people do judge us, and it also affects our career in politics.
Absolutely. I completely believe in what you're saying. Now let me come to Divya. Uh, Now, where does the woman from here go on? A woman has fought for her rights, justice, but still the woman, feels much more bogged down than a man is. Do you really feel that way, or the man equally has equal challenges when you compare it with a woman's challenge?
Uh, no, men have challenges in a different way, but women have to go a long way, like Dr. Spana said, or like Dr. Priya Gautam said. Validation is very difficult for women to get. And when you people spoke about validation, it was mostly about the looks. We forgot about the validation that a woman seeks at the employment level, where she has to be doubly sure. She has to be like 200% giving so much to the company to get one small validation, be it the promotions or be it even a small pat on your back saying you've done a good job. That doesn't easily come for a woman. The self-doubt kind of acquires her like an inner demon, and for her to come out of that is still very difficult. I see a lot of women who are very strong on the surface, who are very emotionally strong, who's managed n number of family problems, come to workplace and then succumb for one small bad criticism that comes her way. So from that aspect, starting from here, we have to develop our emotional strength a lot. We have to believe that me as an individual is enough. That sense of belonging should come. I am enough is not available. Even with my own mother, she still has doubts. She's raised brilliant children who's literally flourishing in life. Not to blow my own trumpet, but yes, we are thankfully blessed. But my own mother has self doubts, and I keep going back wondering, where has the society given her this doubt when she still achieved all of that? Why is the body shaming coming into play? Why does your looks matter a lot? Why is it not the same thing for the men? I don't like to wear a makeup. I don't like to wear anything on my face. Why should I? If I have to come and present, it has to be about what I present, what I talk, not how I look. I think this has to change. And this year theme is like inspire inclusion. And I want to do that when I say, as a woman, when I come and stand next to you, stop looking at me as a different person. Whatever you are, that's the same I am. But what I bring to the table matters more.
Right. You made an important point that, a woman should be known by the substance, by what she's bringing on the table, by the content, what she has. But how easily does it come, really? Priya, if I may come to you now, in your field, especially, you're into the marketing and you are into the corporate world. Does it come so easily? It doesn't, I believe.
It's again, it's an individual perspective, right? See, how much I want to learn and how much I want to keep myself abreast is my own way of keeping things in perspective. Like recently, when I was talking to some of the students, they said you're a chief guest, you have to give a speech. I asked them, I mean, who am I to give you my advice? But you tell me what you want to hear from me. So when you ask that question, it's a very bold way of saying that she's not prepared with the speech. But what I asked them was practical life lessons. There's nothing that I would come reading and come and rattle it out. That's not something that we should do. We should actually understand what they want to hear and be able to quote anecdotes. For me, that has really worked. Every time it's a life lesson is something which really works. And even in marketing, right, it's all about experiences. There's nothing called as fixed, this worked for everybody. It has to be an experience, and personalized experience is something which is really taking off in future with AI and the advent of technology coming into our lives. It's going to be changing. So it's best for us to know what we are getting into, what we should, and we should constantly keep upgrading. And this is my famous quote: be like a sponge, absorb everything, release when you want to. And that really works for me and for others whom I've been mentoring so far. Yeah.
Right. But Dr. Irfana, sometimes if a woman, resolves to become a sponge, as what Priya just mentioned, there is a limit sometimes to which a woman can take things. And, there are times when a woman really crosses that threshold and she really has to go through some moments which could be very, very difficult for her. How does a woman really prepare for that difficult moment? Is it I'm sure it's not easy, and every woman treats life differently. But as a doctor, how would you really, take that moment?
First, as a woman, I think to become resilient, about when Madam said that there is only so much you can absorb, and then you decide how much of it wants to enter you first. And if you desire it, you do not want to enter, not even to the outer table of your skull. This is what I tell everybody, not inside. I'm saying the outer table of your skull. You do not let it enter you. And I think you have to take only what you want to take, and you have to develop that feature right from the beginning. So what we teach the young girls, the adolescents, is that sort of resilience. And what we should be teaching our daughters is also the same. So whatever you want, you take it. And whatever you don't want, don't take it. But even if things are like that and it's forced into you, and then you should filter out and you should sort out the mechanism in your own ways. But one thing as a doctor I would like to add is our hormones are very different from men's hormones, okay? We have these hormone fluctuations just during the month and throughout your life. Men do not have those hormonal fluctuations. They start from point A and to point B, and it's always a straight line. Women, just in a month, we go through up, down, and up and down. Yeah. So that definitely has an impact on us, even if might say it is not like that. So it's very, very difficult for a woman just having such difficult levels during a month to take in so much, to absorb so much, to give back so much. So we develop our own ways how to deal with it, but I think resilience is most important for all of us.
Absolutely. So resilience should be the lesson. So towards the last round of our questions, so where does a woman from here go on, and what should a woman really look forward to? Yes, Padma, I'll come to you first.
So if you ask me, I would say we aim at socio-political state working. So the political, the stand and the situation that we are having today, we have so much to travel. And only if we have power in our hands, when I say power, it's like government power. Only if we have that, we can frame something that what we want is what I would look for. That's my style.
Okay. Yes, Divya. So what would you like to tell the women here on this day, on this special day?
Okay, I have two things to say, or rather three things to say. I will start with the women who are adults, who are still failing at self-doubts and then having the mood swings, ups and downs and all of that. This is a favorite poem written by Maya Angelou. I'm going to read it out. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. Mm-hmm. You may trod me out, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Remember, ladies, nobody can put you down until you want to be there. And like dust, like air, you are always going to rise. And for the girls out there, you guys are going through a lot of more trauma than what I had gone through. I'm 30 years old, but I can see the way that you guys are reining in your self-doubt again. So for you girls, be yourself, be proud of who you are. Even if it sounds very corny, never let anybody tell you you aren't beautiful. The third point, for the men out there, the boys out there, guys, you've done a great deal of work coming from a very backward mindset into a progressive mindset to accept the women as how they are. I know you guys are also fighting it hard from your culture, from wherever you're coming, and then to accept the women in a very different phenomena. But you guys are doing great. Remember to always support and tell her that you are enough as you are.
Beautiful. Very nice. Okay, so Priya, I'll come to you now for your message for the women who are watching this program. What would you like to tell them?
One word. There's no breaking the glass ceiling. You own the ceiling. That's the first thing that I would like to say. And the second thing is about mentor and support. There are a lot of women who need other women to support them. And I think we should be those people who would help them and overcome these challenges, because people come in all shapes and sizes and there are different challenges, and we should look at them as what you can do to help their lives better when they come into work with you, or they're coming in contact with you. That's the second thing I would like to say. Lastly, balance work and life. There's always life, there's also work. So both of these things should be balanced, and it's important to do that, because that's when you enjoy and be harmonious with everybody around you. End of the day, you don't want to make enemies, but you have to collaborate, co-create, and co-work. So it's important to do that. So that's my message to all the women here.
All right. Yes, Dr. Irfana, your message, and then we'll conclude today's program. This is a beautiful conversation. It's almost like I never felt that I was facing a camera. I was just in a room chatting with a few women. I almost felt like that. Yes, Dr. Irfana, what would you this
I would
day?
say invest in yourself completely. Families, children, parents are all going to be there, but the amount of time you invest in yourself is very, very important. The way you take care of yourself is very, very important. Predominantly, our lives we spend taking care of a lot of other people. We really lose where we're going. Emotional independence and emotional freedom is one thing all women should work and not be dependent emotionally on anybody, not just the man, on anybody. And also financial freedom, and always having a skill and financial freedom to go together. So basically just invest yourself in every aspect.
Absolutely. And I'll just add one line that love others, care for others, but love yourself and care for yourself much more.
Much more. True.
Thank you, and wishing all of you once again a very happy Women's Day. It was lovely having all the ladies, and hope we chat up like this more often. These sessions become very, very interesting, especially the large audiences watching us. Thank you so much, Padma Priya Gautam, Dr. Irfana, and Divya. It was wonderful having all of you on the program. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.